The most beautiful part about this is that you can use the sculpt mode as well. So here by default you have a grab tool. You can come in here, and how you would grab a mesh in the sculpt mode, you can just grab things here and hold down shift and that will smooth things here. Om Namah Shivaya. Good morning, welcome back to inthekhud. 21st September 2023, 11:25 am, and I have to do a little bit of catch up almost because I had not uploaded for the past 2 days or 3 days. I'm not sure when the last upload was, and the reason for that twofold. One is primarily I didn't have anything much in the past 2-3 days. More or less I was just watching Muji the whole day, listening to Muji the whole day. That's been like a thing in life where there is a constant battle between urge to do and freedom. And secondly, because of Ganesh Chaturthi, today is the third day, and today evening we go for Visarjan. So the entire day I was just sitting there and trying to like relax, even though yesterday was a working day. There's not been much of a stressful situation at work, so that is all nice. Today's video though, I'm talking about how grease pencil could be the portal to the drawingverse and making things in 2D animation particularly. Before anything else though, I want to talk about the course that I'm doing here, and this course is by cgboost.com. This is the course. It's called Master Grease Pencil in Blender. I would highly recommend if you want to get like a good understanding of grease pencil. Over here, the main things that I want to cover is firstly navigation with the stylus. So this has been a trend that I get excited about 2D animation and drawing and frame by frame stuff, and that's when I remove this Wacom tablet out, and then I get bored with it, and so I keep it inside again. But now this time around I have used this enough to the point now that I can very easily navigate inside of Blender just using the stylus. I'm not using the mouse at the moment. I've been using this for the past 2 days now, so it's very comfortable to the point that I know exactly what it is that I'm doing. If I go into pen settings here, the only thing that you want to change is that your stylus is going to have 2 buttons. If you look at it from the tip, there's going to be one bottom button and one top button. So the bottom one I've kept it at middle click and the top one at right click, because the left click is something you get by just pressing on the tablet itself. So you come into options, there's a different pen button mode called hover click. So hover click is not very reliable as far as I've seen as myself as well. So click and tap is like if you want to do right click. If you're hovering over, like I haven't pressed the tablet yet, middle mouse and right mouse not gonna work. The middle mouse button clicked, you press, and then you can do this. With the right mouse button clicked and then you press here, then your context menu will come up. One is the fact that the way you work inside Grease Pencil is actually pretty simple. The 2 main things you want to worry about is this layer, this panel here. Let me make myself smaller first. So this panel here called layers, here you can add as many layers as you want, and then this panel here called materials. Materials something we're already familiar with. If you are in your draw mode, and over here if you press U, you can see which is the active material, you can change it here, and if you press Y, you can see which is the active layer, you can change it here and you can add a new layer. One thing important to note is that here the layer placement matters, right? So if you look at it from the camera view, if I was to take this layer up, you will see that this will show up in front because it's actually just a 2D plane that I have drawn. It's not like a 3D thing, or there's no perspective as such by in itself. So again, it's almost like Illustrator, Photoshop. Your layering matters, like where the layer, the artwork of the layer is placed, that will determine how it will look on your canvas. Other than that, when you do make any new layer, you get an option to use lights. So use lights, basically you want to keep it off when you're making the artwork, because if you do make it on, you're going to see that it's going to look very, very dark because there are no lights in the scene. Like if I was to let's say come in here, go to my object mode, come in here and add a light. And this I think is the biggest advantage of using Grease Pencil, is that you can have things react to an actual light. I think I'm not in my rendered view. Yeah. So you will see that this will actually respond to the light. One thing that I do want to cover is how is all of this actually made. So if I come into my front view here and I bring my 3D cursor here, you can draw bases these 2 things here, 3D cursor and side. So let me make a new Shift A Grease Pencil blank, so that it's easier for me to explain what I'm trying to explain. So 3D cursor, let's keep the stroke placement at 3D cursor, and this let's take it to front because in the front view. See, the moment you make it front, this kind of canvas will come here, and this by default won't be here. You want to come into your viewport overlays and check canvas. If this is unchecked, you won't see the canvas here. And you can also come in here and increase the size or the opacity of the canvas. So let's keep it somewhere here. So that was that. The stroke placement is 3D cursor. This is your drawing plane. So if I take the box tool, you can just press spacebar and select the box tool. Let's say if I was to make this from side to view, and if I make something here in view, so if I make a box like this, what will happen here is this will be oriented as per your view. Okay, so that's important to be mindful of. Like front, if I make it top, okay, and if I make a box here, you see it will be placed on the top no matter how you make it, because that's what the canvas is being used for. And I think this is amazing because now you can come into the front, let's say, and make this front, and I come and make a box here, middle mouse click. Now you see this is placed there. So now you can draw in like 3D almost. You can go into the edit mode. That's like the superpower of this thing. You can go into the edit mode with edit mode again. 1, 2, 3 is your vertex select. This is your stroke select, and the third one is, I don't quite know what the third one is, but with the stroke select you can select the entire stroke that you just made and do a GY and bring it forward. Okay, if I go into 1, that will be like your vertex select, and you can just move things here around like you move it in your edit mode. Now proportional editing is currently on, so if I want to move this up while proportionally editing with the stylus, because there's no scroll wheel, you can just press page up and page down. So if I do page up, it will increase the influence, area of influence. If I do page down, it will decrease the area of influence. And I think the most beautiful part about this is that you can use the sculpt mode as well. So we have draw mode, we have edit mode, and we have sculpt mode. There's also weight paint and vertex paint, but I'll just show the sculpt mode quickly. So here by default you have a grab tool. You can come in here, and how you would grab a mesh in the sculpt mode, you can just grab things here and hold down shift, and that will smooth things here. And the reason I feel this is amazing as compared to any other traditional 2D animation or drawing software is because with the help of this you can add that little bit of organicness even if you're using like tools. As in, let me go to my draw brush, go to my top, let's take arc for example. Okay, if I hold down from here to here, one thing is you can hold down shift and it will snap at like angles, heading at perfect angles or something. If you hold down alt, it will come from the center. So if I do alt shift, I get something like this, and this blue thing is something you can use to change the angle post the fact. Then again double middle mouse click, so alt shift middle mouse click. Now I can just come into the sculpt mode and make it a little organic. If I want to add like mountains behind, I could easily do that with like this and like this. Okay, and then I could come into my sculpt mode and just like play around with them, so that makes it a little more like it's drawn, or gives it like an organic sort of feel. With the edit mode, everything works like edit mode. I can take them behind, I can scale them up, if not individually I can do them together with median point. And so the reason I'm very excited about Grease Pencil at this point in time is because all of the Blender knowledge and being able to like move around with different modes and being able to just do anything that I want inside the software is something that I have had to build up to over the past couple of years. And now I'm in the perfect position to apply all of these things, like putting the pivot to 3D cursor and then scaling things up, and like, it's amazing. I just love working with Blender at this point. So Grease Pencil is definitely it's come at the right time, for it's going to take me in the right direction for animatics and storyboards and for like proper 2D animations. There is a little bit of VFX stuff that I have to learn now because it came up as a reference, if you can do this, and I know that I can do it, but I have to just understand Blender VFX, so Blender tracking and how that works. And other than that, on the video that I was working on, like the 4-day environment render thing, there are some changes that have to be made inside the deforum render and the video itself. So I will work on that today, and I will document whatever it is that I've learned in tomorrow's video. So thanks so much for being in the third. I will catch you tomorrow. Peace.